Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to episode 20 of In the Red Corner. Last episode before Christmas, I reckon. Maybe the last one a year. We'll see. Yeah. See if we get together before New Year.
We'll see how busy we are.
Doing other things. But and there's not a lot going on after this week, I reckon. Especially, there's a few football games. There's no fights after this weekend, is there? No. What do we have to talk about?
Oh, no.
Sit here in silence.
Sit
here in silence, just drinking single fin.
That's it.
How are you doing, mate?
Good, mate.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
You ready for Christmas? Cheers.
Yeah, we're getting there. I'm ready. Cheers. Yeah. What about yourself?
I'm ready. I had to be ready. My Christmas officially starts tomorrow. 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Same. 12 o'clock tomorrow for me as well.
Yeah. Work, Christmas party / conference. Catching up with everyone at the weekend. And then off to the Gold Coast.
That's it, mate.
Happy days.
Lovely stuff. Yeah. Lovely stuff. Well, we always start the podcast with an opening question. And I'm going to throw this one to yourself today, Matt. So the question I've got for you today is sacking Mikel Arteta the answer to Arsenal's current problems?
In short, no. It's a good question though, because there's probably a lot going on behind the scenes there. My initial thoughts with everything that's been going on, the results they've been getting over the last couple of weeks and the way they've been playing, there's no question in my mind that Arteta's a good coach. He worked really well under Guardiola at City. He was massively respected. They didn't want him to leave by any means. He came in and won the FA Cup straight away. Yeah, so there's no doubt in my mind that he's a good coach. But I don't know if he's the right coach for Arsenal right now. I'm not sure if he's what they need, and I think that what you're kind of getting at is that stems from what's going on in the back room. Much like we've discussed with United over the period we've been doing this podcast, I think there's bigger problems there, and I don't think sacking your coach at this point cures those problems, because I don't know what anybody else would do differently with this squad. There's a squad of players there. Ozil's frozen out, obviously, and that's down to the coach a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes there so much. Aubameyang, all the hype around him this year, and it's just not worked out for him. Again, whether that's a tactical thing, whether that's a mentality thing, whether that's not getting on with the coach or problems in the dressing room. I don't know what it is, but there's something not right there. They've just had a run of just real poor results and now find themselves in a precarious situation at the bottom 15th. Of the table. 15th in the table at Christmas is, sometimes you see that, after a couple of games and a Liverpool or a City are down there, but then they pick it up. I don't see it getting any easier for Arsenal, and they had dropping points at Burnley, struggling this morning. They got the draw in the end this morning, but were behind for a good period of the game, and it is worrying. It is worrying for them. If you're an Arsenal fan, you would be worried at the minute. But I don't think the answer is sacking Arteta. But I wouldn't rule them out actually sacking him, because I think it all depends on who's available. If there's somebody to come in, if they've got their eye on somebody else who they think can do a different job, then they might jump on him. But I'm not so sure in the long term it's the right decision. I think it might be short term gain, but long term pain. Nothing changes. Yeah. What do you think? What would you do now what would you do if you were the Arsenal board, who might be this problem?
It's a huge festive period, and it'll be a huge January. They need to see results quick during this period. There's a lot. The good thing about the festive period for Arteta is there's a lot of games.
Yep.
So within 2 weeks you could have played 3 or 4 games.
Yep.
And that could make the difference quickly. So they have to turn it around. They have to get results. But sorry, go on.
Well, is it a negative as well that there's a lot of games? Obviously, if they put a win together and they can use that kind of mentality and you bounce from one to the next. But if they're struggling and you've struggled against Burnley, you've struggled against Southampton, and now they've got to go and struggle again. Could it be a detriment to them though that there's games after games and they just fall into a bigger hole? You've just got what I mean is you've got no time between games to
analyze,
regroup and be like, right, well, what are we doing here? it could. I agree that it's a really big period for them, but it could be a big period for them negatively as well if you can't get them together.
Exactly. And then that's when you make the decision.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously not doing it on the pitch, and you go, they've had 3 or 4 attempts now in the last 2 weeks to get things right, and it's not worked. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to let you go, because Arsenal as a business, they've always, they always loved Arsene Wenger qualifying 4th. The balance sheet's ticking over nicely. They've already got no fans as it is, in terms of that paying off the state, like the Emirates Stadium, and they're a business, and they've got, if they're not getting the results, they've got to move on Arteta. The problem is the confidence is low. Arteta is so early in his career. He doesn't have the runs on the board when probably the players, maybe the younger players at Arsenal, are looking to him saying he's going to inspire us here, or we trust Arteta, and
he's not been tested, has he?
He's not been tested. So this is a really tough period. But I think it stems from, as well, it's not just Arteta, it's the poor recruitment as well. Just like United, the last 10 years at least, poor players. You sign Pepe's for 72 million, and all these players that they have that have always been a bit soft, and been worried by Arsenal for the last 10 or 15 years.
Not particularly
making a title charge. But the interesting thing is, do Arsenal fans, I wonder, regret how harsh they were with Arsene Wenger in terms of constantly 4th, or I think maybe 5th, or
it seems like a dream right now, doesn't it?
But like making 4th every year for the last 10 years, won a few FA Cups. Do they? I wonder if they would he come in and save them if Arteta got the can? Would they get him back?
I don't know. I was just going to ask you that, who's out there at the minute that might take that job.
Yeah.
The problem with the safety thing of the 4th all the time, it's good from a business perspective, because you're constantly in the Champions League. But as a fan, if you're not even going for the league, what are you in it for? If you're not, if that's what you're aiming for, we're finished. And Liverpool have been there before as well, where it's like 4th is what you're after, is like the pinnacle, and you shouldn't do that. I think you should be going for 1st.
Yeah, of course.
And whatever comes in reality is a bonus almost.
Yeah.
But I think if you're not going for 1st, what are you in it for?
Yeah, of course.
And that's part of the problem, I think, with how the fans were at the time, and with Wenger in the end, it was just not. They weren't kicking on where you bring fresh blood
took
in.
them as far as they can go with all that.
It seemed to be that.
But
who's out there for them then?
Well, the biggest name that I could see managing Arsenal, I think, if he's interested in the job and they tap him up beforehand, if they got Max Allegri from former Juventus coach, experienced, won 3 leagues on the bounce, very experienced, well-respected coach. If Max Allegri wants the London living and the draw, he would be a great appointment, because for me, whatever happens with Man United and stuff, you talk Pochettino, you talk Max Allegri, because Pochettino's not taking the Arsenal job. We know that because of Spurs, but so Max Allegri's kind of the biggest name.
Rodgers,
and
so I feel like he's always linked with that job.
Yeah, well, I think.
Would you leave Leicester to go to Arsenal right now, though? Would you? It's
a
bigger club, arguably.
Because I think, Rodgers has been rumoured for that in the past, but I think now what he's building at Leicester, and it's kind of, I
think he'd be daft to leave.
I do, because I think what he's building at Leicester, it's not say it's pressure off, but it's very much he's
overachieving probably.
Exactly. To now get Arsenal from 15th to where Leicester are. Yeah. Would be a massive job, and that's kind of where the fans expect anyway. That's minimum. Yeah. Whereas for Leicester, it's like, wow, we're Champions League.
Yeah, no, true.
But,
I'm not sure that. Well, Rodgers hasn't had this. Maybe he has.
Yeah, but at least Rodgers. He's won leagues like Celtic, and he's.
Has he gone down? Is he? When he was at Swansea, where were they?
No, I don't think
he's not had a relegation fight.
No, he's not a relegation fight.
So that's what they're going to look at.
Yeah. So
and Big Sam's gone.
Well, we'll get onto this.
Yeah.
We spoke last week about would there be a managerial sacking before the end of the year, and yesterday we got the news: Slaven Bilic getting the can from West Bromwich Albion, appointing the fixer in Big Sam. What do you make of that?
was very surprised, especially coming off the back of a draw with City. Like, it's not the worst result in the world for them, you know. And it makes me think that it's already been lined up. Yeah. I think they were probably expecting to get a whack off City, and they could sack him off the back of that, bring Big Sam in. In the end, they got the draw, and we're committed to it anyway, I suppose. I think it's a bit. It shows that they're preparing to go down, and Big Sam's probably the only one with the qualifications to get them out of that mess. But I mean, they are where they are, so I mean, Bilic has got to take some responsibility for that. But there'll be other sides who are in a better position than West Brom now that would come in for Bilic, because again, I don't think he's a bad coach either.
No.
And sometimes it's a resource thing that he's got what he's got in the Premier League, and it's a mad season as it is anyway. And yeah, I think I'm surprised that he's the first one to go. To be honest with you, I don't think they are underachieving where they are. I think it's probably about right. Who knows? He definitely could have got them out of that situation. And there's people in worse situations. It wouldn't surprise me if we see him back in the Premier League before long. To be honest with you, what do you reckon?
Yeah, harsh, very harsh. I think if you look at the team, it's full of championship players. They're only doing what he's getting the best out of them, kind of thing. And West Brom being second bottom, that's where you expect West Brom to be. Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Like, and he signed there's not one single player there where you look and go, if they went down tomorrow, nobody's probably buying any of them players. Maybe the goalkeeper, Sam Johnson. Maybe the odd defender, Furlong or Ajayi, maybe. But they wouldn't be kind of first teamers. They'd probably be kind of second.
There'd be no clamour to raid that squad, would there?
Yeah, exactly. And a signing they signed Ivanovic. They brought Ivanovic back, to play in the Premier League at 36, 37 or something. But I think that was kind of a move where not so much Ivanovic play. Yes, he's going to play games, but I think that's a signing where Bilic thought, I need some leaders here. Yeah. I need some leaders
for the
in
dressing room, isn't it?
Because if we're fighting for relegation, they're the ones that will put an arm around the young players and go, come on, we can, and give you a bit of confidence, But it's harsh because you look at Chris Wilder, and I know we're fans of Chris Wilder, but from where Sheffield United were last season to now, and they had 1 point. They got 1 point after 12 games.
They could be going for the record for the lowest.
1 point after 12 games. Mad, isn't it? And so who's dropped off? Yeah. West Brom haven't dropped off. No. West Brom have come up and they're fighting second bottom.
And it's arguably the same for Sheffield United, though. It's more. This is more reality of where they are. Yes. We've said this before, but last year was a bit. A bit of they were playing above themselves, and fair play to them. But it's really hard to back that up. With the squad that you've got.
Of course, but I don't. But yeah.
Do you think they'll stick with Chris Wilder though? There's only so long you can have 1 point at the bottom of the league that you don't have to change something, no matter how good or bad you are. I think the question they would have to ask themselves the other side of Christmas, if they're still in that situation, is he the right manager for us in the Championship? Will he get us back up?
And who's about?
And who's about, Bilic. Yeah, well, yeah.
Would they go for Bilic?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely could. They, the squad that they've got, the squad that they've got there has achieved. They've done really well, and they might need a bit of some fresh ideas or something in that side, in the back room, to bring them back up to where they've been before. It might have just got a bit stale there, or Wilder might have taken them as far as they can go. Who knows, eh? No. And I think you're right though. This next kind of couple of weeks, this busy Christmas period now, games every 3 days, it'll be telling. And once you get to the other side of it, you get to mid-January, you look at the table. You'll then know the reality of where people are at, won't you? And we might see a bit more movement then when the reality sets in of we either need to fight for survival or prepare for the Championship. You
never know. We could come into the new year and the Zebras are top of the league, The
Zebras? No, I don't think you'll be top of the league, mate. Nah. But we can have a chat about them. Draw with City last week. Were you happy? Were you happy with that result?
No, not really. I think the game itself was a snooze fest. It was awful. It was awful.
I'm never watching you again.
It pains me as a Man United fan, growing up into success of the Alex Ferguson era. It pains me that we don't have killer instinct. Yeah. It pains me. And Man City don't either. They didn't even, and the game to me felt like the two top nations are in the same group in the World Cup, and they play each other the first game of the World Cup, and it's we can't lose this game. It's not we can win this. It's we cannot lose.
Yeah, the don't lose mentality,
and it's just a rubbish. It's just it's a France-Portugal that's a draw, and then you go, oh really? This is opening the World Cup, is it? Oh great. Yeah.
I think the managers have cottoned on, haven't they? Especially those at the top of the table now. They know that this season it's not going to take many points to win this league.
No.
You're going to win this. Honestly, we usually say that 40 points keeps you safe, keeps you up. Yeah. Might win you the league this year. Yeah. Honestly, you don't need a lot, and I think it's played into the games, isn't it? Where managers are resting the players, tell them to play at 70%. They're managing through the games, and in some cases it's causing a bit of a dire game of football because it's just
fatigue.
It's the fatigue it's saying, but it's also be safe. Don't lose. Don't lose. A draw's good. A draw at United's good. A draw at City's good.
Yeah,
we'll take that.
Exactly.
And it doesn't do much for the for the fans, especially when they're not in stadiums for the most part.
Yeah,
it can be dire.
Yeah. Before the game, if you said both teams firing, you're going to get a draw. I know we're at home, but you'll get a point against City. I'll be like, yeah, okay, not the worst result. We move on.
It's not the result, is it? It's the manner of the result.
Yeah, and it's kind of they're there for the taking. They were there for the taking, and likewise, Man City would say Man United were there for the taking.
You wouldn't mind if it, because especially with it being a derby as well, you wouldn't mind if it was a bit of a gung-ho game. Both defences play well, it ends up in a 1-1 draw, but there's chances and the goalkeeper's had a blinder and things like that. You don't mind that 1-1 draw, but a dire 1-1 draw in derby like that.
Yeah, like two chances each, you put the ball wide.
Especially when the opportunities are at the top of that table. Yeah. Anyone could run away with this if you can put a bit of a run together. You've got to keep yourself in the mix, and I think that's what's causing. Yeah. It's don't lose. You're exactly right. Yeah. It's don't lose.
And there's something wrong. There's something not right at City. There's something not right, and I've noticed it in the last two games. So obviously the United game and the West Brom game, they dropped points. Yesterday morning. I think there's a myth. This Pep Guardiola, who plays amazing football and is attacking football. It's like watching Van Gaal football. There's only Kevin De Bruyne that passes the ball forward and actually looks like he wants to win the game. Yeah. Everybody else, it's sideways and backwards. It's Rodri to Gundogan. It's back to left. But it's like
anybody's out there managing themselves through.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's like Van Gaal got sacked for this, and but Pep's the innovator. He's the
and he signed it to the 2-year deal as well. Yeah. If you were City now, you're not going to be like, we're going to have 2 years of this. Exactly. Dire.
But it's just like Aguero comes off the bench now, and I'm not worried anymore. No. Like he came off the bench against West Brom. He weren't going to get a winning goal. I just thought he's been way off the pace. He's
not right, is he? I think they keep bringing him back too soon.
I know, and
he's not quite right.
So there's only Kevin De Bruyne for me. If Kevin De Bruyne is injured, City are done.
Yeah. How long does Kevin De Bruyne enjoy that though? Being in a team where you're that one man. We've seen it with Gerrard in the past. When you feel like they're dragging everyone along, and it's like, come on, lads, any chance?
Yeah.
Well, how long does Kevin De Bruyne, before he's got knocking on the manager's door, being like, any chance of a bit of help or a bit of support or
well, his advice to whoever the new Barcelona president would be: stop with this Neymar and all this stuff. You ain't got the money for him, so don't have that as your main pitch saying I'm going to get you Neymar. But say to the fans, I'll get you Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Because what better player? He's not arrogant. He don't kick up a fuss. Yeah. He's the best player in the world in his position, best midfielder in the world in my opinion.
Yeah.
What a perfect player to help Barcelona come out of certainly if Messi's off and all that.
How much would he cost you?
I don't know.
Bit of a Messi swap. But there's no way they'd let Kevin De Bruyne go.
I know.
There's no way, unless he's got some mad release clause, but there's no way.
But he's the type, Kevin De Bruyne is, I think, the type of person that would stick it out. He's not the type that would throw his teddies out the car or refuse to train. Or,
no, he's not. He's not professional. He's not podber, is he?
No. We don't have to bring him up.
No. Well, you guys have got Sheffield United this weekend. On the face of it, there should be no worries there. Are you at all concerned?
No.
It should be business as usual.
I know, and this is why I don't want to bag Chris Wilder, because how many times have I said, we know what's going to happen. Yeah. I know what's going to happen. It's going to be 2-1 Sheffield United tomorrow, and I'll go. And then the next time we do the pod, it'll be Ole. It's just like it's just
this cycle.
What manager's getting the cam this week, you know?
Yeah.
So, like I say, I want to be respectful to Sheffield United. The one thing I would say is Man United have looked far better away than at home.
Yeah, that's been most of the season.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, yes, I'd like to think we'd get the win. They're struggling for goals, but you never know. It's the Premier League. There's been weirder results.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have thought West Brom would have got a point at City. This will move swiftly on. I also wouldn't have thought that Fulham would have got a point against you guys at the weekend. So what happened there? Well,
last weekend, the whole of the Premier League was dire, in my opinion. Every game was crap. It was, and it was the first weekend that I really thought, there's been a bit of talk about it with the injuries and things like that going on.
Yeah,
people were worried about the quality of the games because people were managing their way through games. They were playing second string squads for the most part. And I know it's been shot down a little bit by pundits or whatever, but last weekend was the first weekend where I watched a bunch of the highlights, looked at the results, and was just like, that was a dire weekend of football. If you were paying an expensive Sky subscription or whatever it's on now, the Amazon, you'd be a bit miffed. There was no good football, and Liverpool were exactly the same. I felt like we were playing it. We were almost told to play at 70%, and which is never good for Liverpool.
Yeah.
We can't manage ourselves through the games like that. We've got to put the pressure on. We've got to play like we play with the intensity, or it just doesn't work. And I think that's what happened, really. I think we tried to manage our way through it, thought we could get through it in second gear, and it just never happened for us. Fulham weren't great. They didn't do anything particularly to stop us or to combat what we were doing. I just thought we looked leggy all over the pitch. And it was just dire, really. I don't have much more to say than that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was everyone just looked a yard off the pace.
Yeah.
And I was worried then coming in, you're going off the back of what we thought was going to be one of our easier games of the season, and you're hoping to do a number on them and kick on to the most important game we've had this season against Spurs this morning. And we just look like a completely different side, which is strange, and it makes you almost think that we were preparing in our heads a little bit more for the Spurs game, looking ahead, than focusing on the Fulham game we had at hand. Because this morning, played really well. And again, looking back from last weekend being a dire weekend of football all around, the Spurs game this morning was the best game of football I've watched in a little while. It was two competitive teams playing in their own way. For the most part, Spurs sat back. They did but not in a negative sense. There was tactical nous behind it. Yeah. They put men behind the ball.
Jose ball.
Yeah, and it worked. Well, the treat they caught us out. They were 1-0 down, but they caught us out. I think they were playing. There was like a replay on the screen. It came from nowhere, but they literally moved the ball from one end of the pitch to the other. Next thing, Son's on the ball, back of the net. Job done.
That's what they do.
And that's exactly what they do, and they were brilliant at it. And I think they know that they've got that threat whenever they want to unleash it, that they can, and teams need to be aware of that. The Son and Kane twosome up front is incredible. For Liverpool, got a good start. We went at them and we put pressure on them throughout the game. It could have gone either way though. They had chances. Bergwijn in the very start of the second half should have scored. So I mean, hats off to Spurs that they can come away from that with the confidence a little bit that they're a really good side and they're going to cause everyone problems this year. I think the difference today was we took our chance there at the end, and often Liverpool have come away from games having dropped points, and I've said they've just not taken the chances. They had the chance, they've just not put the ball in the net when they've had the pressure and the momentum going forward. This morning we took that chance and we got the 3 points in the end, and I was made up for us. I thought throughout this whole little period, what the big standout for me, more so than anything else for Liverpool, is the how well the youngsters have done. Curtis Jones.
I was just going to say that. Was he man of the match? Or?
Yeah, we should have been. I don't know if he got the official nod, but he should have been man of the match this morning.
What I saw is, for a 19-year-old or however old he is, he's so confident, and he's played a lot more this year than he probably thought he was. Yeah.
Because obviously the injury problems we've got are huge, but it's what it has done is given these lads, Reece Williams, Curtis Jones, Nico Williams, it's given them all a chance to step up and have to take that responsibility on. And I think for the most part they've all done absolutely fantastic. And this morning, Curtis Jones everywhere, all over the pitch, super confident, knocking it round. He just looks like he just looks like he's been playing for years. He's way more experienced and confident than he has any right to be, really. And Wijnaldum as well, again, just that engine. He's played back-to-back games, non-stop this season. For someone we thought we might let go at some point, before the season started, he's been priceless for us this season.
Always remember, you can't win anything with kids. Always remember.
Yeah. No, but you can't fault them. The effort they've put in, the maturity they've shown to back it up, to have the confidence to go out there and perform and play in that Liverpool way. They've kept the same style and sometimes we come a little bit short. This morning we got the 3 points, and I think despite what Jose said at the end, I think we deserved it. I think we kick on now. We've got a few days break, but I think we're the early kickoff on Saturday. I think we're the 12:30 kickoff, right. So we're back off to Crystal Palace, and we just got to do it again. I think we'll go bounce into there real confident after that win. Palace will not be used to playing the 3 games back to back to back. That some of the top 6 sides when they play in Europe and stuff, they're used to those games back to back. I don't think Palace will be used to, and I hope we can spring a surprise on them and blow them away. Really, I think I'm confident. Yeah, we'll get a good result there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, happy days for the Reds. So good. That header. Oh, Bobby.
Tim Sherwood wasn't happy, was he?
He wasn't. You couldn't have written that better. He literally couldn't have worked out any better. Fantastic. Moving on from the footy, there was some boxing last weekend. Did you tune in and see a little bit of it?
I saw a bit of the highlights, but I couldn't find a good enough stream, to be honest. But that's all it was. But so you can talk us through the analysis. Anthony Joshua and some 40-year-old Pulev. some big man. No.
I thought I was impressed with Joshua in waves. Strangely enough, he's always been known as that as the finisher, hasn't he? He's a ruthless finisher when he was coming up in his professional, as he was building his reputation and coming through. He lost that a little bit. I think he definitely lost a bit of confidence, especially in the Ruiz fight. Lost a bit of confidence in his own chin, and as he's matured, I suppose he's just learning how to fight a smart fight now, which is all well and good. But you don't want to become another Klitschko, and where it's just boring back to back wins. He just gets it done. But having said that, in the third round when he did hurt Pulev, when he saw the blood in the water, he did go for it, and he's got his uppercuts are absolutely wicked. The power on those, but it took him longer to put him away. The ref probably should have and could have stopped it in that third round. Right. Pulev turned his back on Joshua, didn't want any bar of it, and I thought Joshua might have come out in the fourth and put his foot down and put him away. He didn't do that. But he on one hand he fought a smart fight, and he wasn't really ever in any danger. And obviously got the win in the ninth. Finally got the stoppage. Happy days. But the downside of it was, and the criticism I have of Joshua is that he shit himself in the post-fight interview. All he had to do was sing out Tyson Fury's name to make that fight, and he danced around it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why he does that. He was real keen on just saying he wanted to fight for the belts. He just wants to keep the belts, it's all well and good, but it's not what people want to see. There's only so long that people will keep paying to watch you if they know it's going to be a boring fight that no one's asked about. He's going to have to go. I'm guessing he's going to fight Usyk next. I don't think he'll fight Fury next. Right. He might fight Fury this year, but I don't think he'll fight Fury next. Yeah. I just don't think your average Joe isn't paying to. They'll pay to see him to fight Tyson Fury. I don't think they're going to pay to see him fight these average Joes that he's going to end up fighting if it doesn't go the way that he wants it to. With Usyk, for instance, it's just so annoying, and it's boxing as a whole. I think with the different promotions and different, everyone's got their own agenda.
Mandatories and
everyone's got their own agendas that they've got to fulfill, and there's politics in the background. You transfer that over to the UFC, and it's people are calling for the fights that the people want to see. The fighters know what the people want to see, and they call for it, and they get it, and it sells. And you wonder why promotions like the UFC are doing so well. It's because they make the fights that the people want to see. And boxing dances around, and eventually people are just going to lose interest, in my opinion. Just lose interest in it because it's crap. Yeah. I'm not interested in anything of Anthony Joshua aside from Tyson Fury. That's the only thing I'm interested in watching him do.
Yeah. And boxing fans were clamouring for Pacquiao and Mayweather for 5 years. They got it 5 years later.
Too late.
And then the fight happens, and then whoever they support, Pacquiao loses, and they go, well, 5 years too late.
Yeah. Would have been 5 years ago. Well, it's all well and good, isn't it? But we'll never know now, will
exactly.
we? And I'm worried that would happen. I think they will. I think they will fight. So I think it's hard to avoid unless one of them gets a loss in the next fights.
But I think they will fight because Fury will push for it. If there was two Anthony Joshuas, fight it. If there was two Anthony Joshuas, they'd never fight each other.
No.
Because whoever's got the belt, and the others, it might happen, it might not. Whereas if you've got someone like Fury, he knows he can beat Joshua.
He needs to wind Joshua
and
up.
he just goes, no. So, and he did it with Wilder. As soon as he came back, he had a tune-up fight, grabbed the mic, did his sing-song, American Pie, whatever it was, and then goes, Deontay Wilder, you getting it next? And everyone went, whoa, he's jumping into Wilder straight away, and he just knew. The
difference is with Fury, he's so confident in his own ability. He'd fight Joshua tomorrow. He's not bothered, and he suits that UFC model, doesn't he? Where he's just like, you're on a roll. You're not bothered. You're not scared of the loss. You just want to make the fights, and it's unfortunate for Joshua, or his promoters, or his management, whatever it is. He's playing the boxing game. He's playing the long game, and it blows the pants off me at times. Yeah. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah,
so frustrating. Elsewhere in boxing, the big fight this weekend is what's his face? Canelo's back in, fighting a Scouser, Callum Smith.
Callum Smith.
Canelo's got that reputation, hasn't he? He's an absolute killer, and I'm really interested to see how this goes because Callum Smith's brother, Liam, has fought Canelo, hasn't he, before?
Yes.
Didn't get the win, but I think the difference is now that Callum Smith is a lot bigger, and I think we'll see that when they get to the weigh-ins and they're squaring off against each other. We'll see that difference, and there's a threat there. Callum's going to be used to being in and around Canelo and his team. Hopefully he's not overawed by the whole situation. They're fighting out in Texas, I think, so it's a little bit of home turf for Canelo, which is why this cannot go to a decision for Smith. Yeah. But I don't know. What are you thinking? Has he got much of a chance here?
If it goes to decision, no. Canelo's up already 4 rounds as we speak. Well, certainly in Vegas, he was always 4 rounds up. Maybe not in Texas, but So the interesting thing will be, any fight sport enthusiast, the first word out the mouth when they're trying to speak to a casual is Styles make fights, mate. Always remember, Styles make fights. It's like, yeah, we know that. So,
any other wise words?
Yeah, it's him. So the interesting thing is, obviously, Callum Smith will want to be rangy, stay on the outside, whereas Canelo, that Mexican style,
and wicked body shots,
getting tight, getting close. So that's where it's just literally going to come down to. Canelo sticking inside, using that movement, the body shots, and it's whether Callum Smith can, sustain those, but also, we've noticed in the last couple of big boxing fights, the jab is key.
Yeah,
the jab is key.
Well, that's what Joshua, ruled off there.
Yeah, and it was the same with the Joyce and Dubois fight.
Yeah,
it jab is key. So stay on the outside. Take your punches type of thing. The bet would be, in my opinion, Smith. And I like Canelo, but I can't see it going to points. So Smith by KO or TKO, and you get about $8.50. It's
worth it because we know that it's not worth going to points.
Yeah.
Callum Smith certainly knows that it's not worth going to points, which means as you're going through the fight, he's going to start taking more risks, isn't he? Because I ain't winning this on a decision. Yeah. I'll be willing to take a punch to get a punch almost. Yeah. And he'll be able to go and stand toe to toe with him as he goes on. He's still got to box smart. He's got to get through the rounds. And I think he'll come out and start. He'll try and impose himself, I think, on Canelo, and like you say, use that range, use that jab. I'd love to see him win. It'll be unreal.
Yeah,
unreal to have a Scouse champion as well. Happy days.
Yeah. Bring it home to England.
Just in time for Christmas. Good. I mean, Nick Pete will be off his rocker. Happy days.
Yeah.
UFC, lots to talk about. Last weekend's card was fucking epic.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely epic. I guess we start, we can start at the top of the card, I suppose, at that main event. Figueredo and Moreno. What a spectacle for a division that was on its arse not 12 months ago. Figueredo especially has just brought so much eyes and attention to it, and he's freaking good. But he finally found a match, didn't he? He found a match in Moreno. Not so much in the skill. I still think he's way more skilled than Moreno is at this point. But Moreno had that toughness, that Mexican toughness that you don't see elsewhere. I believe he had an injury to his shoulder. We thought it was his wrist at the time.
Right, okay.
But I believe it was actually his shoulder that was either out of place or whatever. I don't know if you noticed. Every time he kept throwing that and he was like messing with it. Yeah. I thought he'd broken his wrist and I couldn't believe he was still throwing. Yeah. But I think I've heard since that it was his shoulder. Right. I don't know whether he's just readjusting or whatever he's doing. Okay. But it shows that the toughness and the mental resilience he had to go the distance with him, and all it does is make you want to see it again. And that one has to be made again. Absolutely has. Did you think the draw was the right call in the end?
Yes, I think it was. And in my prediction last week, I thought Moreno would take him quite far. Like I said, fourth round. But yeah, just like you say, it is. It didn't come down to ability. Well, obviously he has got ability, of course, but it's that. No one's got heart as big as Mexicans. No, it's just that Mexican fight, the dogged.
They want it so bad, and they're willing to go to hell and back to get it.
But for me, the moment I think that changed the fight was Figueredo was 2 rounds up, in my opinion, comfortably. Then he got a point deducted.
Yep. A nasty low blow.
Yeah, a nasty low blow. I think the reason, because we was a bit shocked that they gave a kind of a point deduction straight away, but from hearing what they were saying, there was a couple of eye pokes that went unpunished, so that was kind of like his third foul.
But it also goes off the severity as well, doesn't it? Because what you've got to remember is even though that Moreno has been kicked in the nuts and he's down, injured, and gets a chance to recover, so does Figueredo. He's also sat on the other side of the octagon having a minute. Yeah. So I think because he took a proper whack in the nuts, I think the ref can make that call to be like, nah, that's a severe. Yeah. It's a point.
Exactly. So for me, Figueredo was 2 rounds up. The point deduction happened, and then I think that was the light bulb moment in Moreno's head that thought, I've got a chance now.
Yeah, I can win this.
If I can nick a couple of rounds. Yeah. That point is massive. Certainly, that third round was so close, and then that goes, well, if they give me this round, that's essentially a 10-8, essentially. So it's kind of, suddenly, I'm right in the mix. So for me, it was such a good... I think I like the fact it was a draw as well, because I want to see it again. Yeah. It was so close that I kind of said, perfect, okay, lads, walk away, shake hands, you don't lose the belt. It was a good scrap, recover... and bring it on.
And don't forget, they were coming off a real short turnaround. Yeah. So not had a full camp preparation for each other. No. That they've maintained a really low weight, so you've got probably low energy levels there, things like that. For them to now go away, have a good Christmas, have a rest, recover, heal, then go into camp, a full 8-week, 10-week camp, knowing exactly who you're going to fight. Yeah. The rematch will be epic, absolutely epic. So I'm glad them. Made up for that next year. Co-main was really interesting, but I think it also posed a lot of questions as well. When we spoke about this last week, I was critical of Tony Ferguson.
And props to you, because
I'll take that. But I thought Tony Ferguson was done off his last fight, his last outing. Yeah. I didn't think he could perform at the level he had before. That his trademark is his toughness, isn't it? And there's only so many times you can get hit in the head before it's not great. But I think for this fight, what's interesting to me afterwards is I don't think Ferguson lost because he was done. I think Ferguson lost because Oliviera was so good. And Ferguson hasn't gone down in my estimations any further than where he was. But Oliviera is way up there now. He was incredible. Nobody has been able to pick Tony Ferguson up, dump him on the floor, control him, put him into those disastrous submission positions. No one's been able to do that to Tony Ferguson. He got absolutely dominated. He had no answer at any point in that fight. Did he have anything for Oliviera? And having said that, it doesn't make me think that he's any worse than he is. I just think Oliviera was a lot better. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we've talked so much about Leon Edwards, and we were saying how much the rest of the world don't know how good he is, and people have been sleeping on him.
Yep.
You could have said the same before he became champion in Jan Blachowicz. Again, sleeping of what he's been doing in that division. And Charles Oliveira, I think the amount of names in that division, I think he's another example of we've been sleeping on this guy. How good is he? And
he's so good.
And we watched the fights together on Sunday, and we discussed and said, your likes of Conor McGregor, how would he go against Charles Oliveira? Is the way you saw Charles Oliveira fight?
I didn't see a hole in his game there.
Can he beat everyone in that division?
Quite possibly. It's just when you think the lightweight division can't get any better, and then someone like Charles Oliveira comes out and does that to Tony Ferguson, you're now just thinking,
everyone's on notice.
Oh my God, everyone's on notice now. I really want to see him fight the winner of Conor Poirier.
Yeah.
And we don't know yet what's going to happen next with the belt. Apparently Dana's talking to Khabib next month about whether he's going to fight again or whatever.
Yeah.
Whether he relinquishes that belt or not. I think Conor and Poirier is probably not going to be for the belt, but the winner of that will probably fight for a belt if Khabib doesn't have it. And I think Oliveira, for me, is right up there. Right up there. I would love to see him fight the winner of Conor Poirier, because that then puts you, right at the top of the division, which is where he potentially can be now. He's unbelievable. That armbar. I mean, what we can say about on the back of the armbar is that no one doubts Tony Ferguson's toughness and his ability in the octagon to stay in the fight, often to his own detriment. And that's what's dangerous, and that's where Dana White, the matchmakers, have to ask themselves serious questions about: do we want to be matching him up with these people that are that are real dangerous in that division? Because we know he's going in there and he's willing to take damage. We've spoke about Oliviera now and what we think is next for him. It's a top fight against a very, very top contender in the lightweight division. What's next for Tony Ferguson? What weight class is he at? Does he stick at 155?
Yeah, I think he does.
Is there a fight out there for him? Because knowing Tony Ferguson, he'll want to bounce right back.
Dan Hooker?
I think that's disrespectful to Dan Hooker.
Do you think?
Yeah. Ferguson's coming off 2 losses. Paul Felder. But I worry about the damage that both of them would be willing to take in that fight.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. They're both coming off losses. I thought Dan Hooker as well, because it's a good fight, but I think it's disrespectful to Dan Hooker. He's done nothing wrong, and have they fought before? No, maybe they fought before. But again, he's coming off a win.
Yeah.
It's really.
But he's only just come into.
I know. And again, it's what damage do you want to do to Tony Ferguson? Yeah. You're matching him in the names we're saying are killers in this division. Yeah. We've just seen him get beat by 2 of them. Yeah. One he got battered by, and the other one he got completely dominated by. Well, aside from the armbar and the ligament damage, he probably didn't take much damage in the Oliviera fight compared to what he would normally take, because he was just completely dominated throughout in more of a grappling range. I don't know. There was talk of him going up to 170, and I don't think he's big enough.
Actually, Islam Makhachev.
That could happen, because he'll need a fight. And
he's like down in 12th or something.
Yeah, the ranking wise, it makes a lot of sense. Again, you could be feeding Tony Ferguson to the wolves. We don't know yet with Makhachev really where he stands, but it makes sense in terms of where he's at. And I think Ferguson does need to go down and fight lower. He's not in the title picture now.
No,
for me, he's not there. And as much as he might clamour for those shots and spots in that division, he's got to go back. He's got to get a win. You've got to, if you as the UFC and Dana White want to build him back up, you've got to find him a win somewhere. And I'm not even sure it exists within that top 10 of the lightweight division at the minute.
Exactly. And maybe that's why it is Makhachev, because he's low down, because he's low in the rankings. They think, Tony, if you can't beat 12th in this division, then...
But it gets to that point where you become the gatekeeper, don't you? And you start being fed to these young, hungry wolves, and then you...
Which Tony doesn't want to be. He said he's not the gatekeeper.
No, but sorry, mate.
You got to win fights.
You might be, And, there might be one there. There might be one there with a Felder and RDA, but it might be disrespectful for them. Felder, because he's coming off a loss, makes a bit of sense to me. You could sell that. I mean, that's blood and guts, that fight, isn't it? Jesus. But you could sell that to me. Aside from that, I think he's dropping out the top. He's dropping out that top 10. Makhachev, and he has to go from there. And I find it all very strange. His whole setup, that he's his own coach and he's got these fellas that he's been working with for 3 weeks, and you're trying to win fights at the top level. Doesn't work for me. I don't understand how. I don't understand how you think you're going to compete in that level with no structure. For me, it's not going to happen for him. It's exactly the same as what we discussed a couple of weeks ago when we said about Cowboy dropping down. Yeah, it's like I can beat all, I can compete in the top 5. It's like you fought every single one of them and you've got beat. It's all good saying that, but you're going to go in there and take damage. You fought all of them. Yeah. They've all beat. It's irresponsible of the UFC to put you in against anyone like that. It's really irresponsible. I would have said, Cowboy fought Tony, but they've not long fought. Yeah. But there's a fight there as well. Yeah. If it's just pure entertainment value. Yeah. If they're just desperate to fight, and one goes up, one goes down, one goes up, one retires. I don't know. Loser gets cut. Well, there's that. There is that, and there's a fight there to be made because they're both coming off a pretty rough run, really, and both could well be finished. I know Tony doesn't think he's finished at all, and he put out an Instagram post and he's defending himself and being as positive as he always is. But there's only so many times you can do that, and only so much damage you can take before. Again, like we said about the boxing, if people aren't interested anymore, they're not paying to watch it, and that's when you get cut. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him next. And, you wish him all the best. I'm being very critical of him, but it's more because I don't want to see him take an absolute pummeling, which he has been doing. And I know that because he's tough, he's willing to do. This is not good. Yeah. Mackenzie Dern and Jandaroba, new Max Holloway. I was so impressed with Mackenzie Dern. Great fight. So good. She's showed me that she is ridiculously tough, ridiculously adaptable, and willing to go the extra mile. She's climbing this division. I'm not willing to say she's on the path to be a champ yet. I don't know. She's got to improve that striking still. But she's made we've seen her since her debut in the UFC, and the incremental steps she's making every time I see her fight are massive. We know how good she is on the ground, and everyone knew, without kind of saying it too much, that this fight was going to take place on the feet because they're just going to neither of them were interested in grappling because they were going to cancel each other out. And her striking was fantastic. It was intense, flurries of striking, and just real toughness. What did you make of her? Were you impressed as I was? Yeah, very impressed, and I was more impressed the fact that she broke her nose, and even in that third round, she wanted it and kind of won that third round, and it was like that was arguably her best round after a broken nose. Yeah, I was very impressed. There's some great fights for her in that division now. Yeah. I think it'll be a big year for her next year. The good thing as well, she's backing it up. She's fought maybe three times this year, and has been incrementally better in each one. After having a baby, like last year. She's working with Perillo as well, and we know what he can do with the likes of Bisping, things like that. Could have our mum champ, as Watson used to always bang on. Yeah, exactly. We've still not had one yet, have we? No. I guess we could call her Nunes now. Yeah, she's a mum, of course. But. Yeah. No, you're right. I'm very excited to see where Dern goes next year. Yeah. We've then got to move on to Kevin Holland. What a guy! What a year! My God. I backed against him this weekend. Yeah. I thought it might be a step too far fighting a guy that was probably fighting for his career, for his spot in the UFC against Jacare. I couldn't have been more wrong, really. Couldn't have been more wrong. It was the best I've ever seen him look. I now have this newfound appreciation for how good he is everywhere. Incredible striker. He grappled with Jacare on the ground and didn't look out of place. Nope. And he was able to knock him out from his back. And then he rocked the mic. And you just hope people like Anthony Joshua are watching that, because that is how you build a career.
Yeah.
That is how you make people around the world, casual fans, tune in, because he's just doing everything right. Doing everything right. And his skill levels are much higher than I thought they were.
Yeah.
We've seen him come up and and he's fought lower ranked opponents.
Yeah.
Wiped the floor with them, had tough fights, showed he can battle it out. And then I thought this one, this is a test against someone who's been a title contender before, and he made it look like a cakewalk. Yeah, and he's incredible.
He is. Yeah, I was so impressed. I mean, I've been impressed with him. He gets it. He gets the business. He's a character. Yeah. Even like in his last fight in Israel Adesanya's cage side, he's having a go at Israel Adesanya. Bit of talk. Are they going to do it? And it's like he gets it. It's like and he's dancing to the ring. He's a showman.
Yeah.
He's
doing everything right.
He backs it up. He's always got a smile on his face in the press conference. He
loves it, doesn't he?
He loves being in there, and he loves.
But you like what you just said there, he can back it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can got all that bravado, and then it's just like, it's all very nice, but you've got to actually win.
Yeah, exactly. And he's winning, and
5 fights in something like 7 months.
5 wins.
5 wins
in 7 months.
7 months. It's like a fight a month.
Yeah, and he gets on the mic. The elephant in the room is Chimaev.
Yeah.
He rocks the mic and says, "Give me him this weekend.
So
Give me
good.
him." They're all talking about Kazmat Chimaev. He's fought nobody.
Yeah.
I've got 5 wins in 7 months. Feed me him next week. I'm ready to go.
It's unreal.
And we both turned around and looked at each other and said, "Wow, book it
Did
right
he just
now."
say that? Yeah, he did.
Book it right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think they will. I think they're going to hold out for that Leon Edwards fight. But he was game and he meant it, and he would have done it. Yeah, absolutely would have done it. And he's a superstar in the making. Big year for him next year.
I don't think anybody's had 6 wins, have they? Like, I wonder if anybody's, because
no, I don't think so.
If there's a late dropout,
yeah, well, yeah.
Would he go? I want the record. I want to.
It'd be interesting to see who's on that card next. At his weight class. I don't think.
Is he welterweight?
No, he's middleweight, isn't he?
Oh, sorry, yeah, middleweight.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any middleweights on that card.
No, there's not.
I don't. Whether he can make 170, I don't know. But
no.
He'll be knocking around Vegas, that for sure. He'll be knocking around Vegas. Wait, what's one more week after a year of just hanging out? Yeah, what a guy. It's going to be a big year for him. Big year. I guess in terms of Jacare, I thought he looked incredible. He looked in shape. He looked hungry. He looked ready. He's potentially fighting for his career. Do you think he is fighting for his career?
I think Jacare, and we said last week, both Jacare and JDS are done.
Yeah. I guess we can mention JDS now while you've brought it up. I thought he played a little bit too much into Cyril Gane's game, didn't he? He let Cyril do whatever he wanted, which was use his range and fight. He was just fighting at range. His movement for someone of that size is incredible. He's only had 7. That is 7th professional fight. Not even just in the UFC. Just like full stop 7th fight. And sometimes you get those freak athletes, don't you? They're just incredible. But he does have that power and movement to back it up. And yeah, he made JDS look bang average, didn't he? He made it look. He made it look his age. A bit of a contentious finish, I suppose.
But I think it was the fact that JDS had kind of turned away, and it was kind of, he's not saying he's submitting, but he's more or less, he's a little
bit. He was moving out of the way, and he never got called as an illegal strike. I think by the letter of the law it probably was, but it wasn't. I don't think it was intentionally illegal.
Yeah.
He was throwing the strike because JDS was turning away, he caught him probably where he shouldn't. Yeah. You shouldn't turn a blind eye at those things, but I don't think it would have had any bearing on what would have happened in the fight. No. It would have finished pretty soon afterwards. Yeah. It was the right result in the end. You don't like seeing illegal shots if you think both parties are still involved, or it could have changed the path of the fight. I don't think that would have changed anything. I think it would have been over pretty soon anyway. Gane goes up now. There's so many good fights at heavyweight for him. It's just who he gets, I suppose, and how the UFC matches him up. Have anyone in mind?
Do you know what ranking JDS was?
14, I think.
Was it?
Or was Gane 4? One of them was 14 and one of them was 7, I think.
Oh, JDS would be 7 then.
JDS was probably 7 then. Yeah. So he's right in that top 10, technically. You've got Rosenstrike, you've got Curtis Blades.
I wonder if they'll do Blades, Lewis. They're going to run that back, probably.
Maybe. I would have thought so. Yeah. I haven't heard any dates yet.
So, yeah, Rosenstrike's there.
Which, it was a good stand-up battle.
Yeah.
Both
Overeem,
yes. Yeah, and again, that's another one of like young, hungry lion.
Yeah, but I think Overeem, he's looking more towards the belt as opposed to I've got nothing to gain by this kid.
No, absolutely not. He could get fed to him though, but I think it would be unfair on Overeem to give him, because it's a risky fight for Overeem to take. There's options there for him anyway.
Yeah.
Again, another big year next year. As that heavyweight division starts moving, we just need to get the Ngannou Stipe fight at some point, and then he gets the division moving again, doesn't it? Because it's a bit stalled at the minute, I think. I guess shout outs elsewhere. Cub Swanson, brilliant finish. We missed it, but it was good. We were doing the run from the to the pub. Sorry, Cub. But brilliant finish. He's a veteran, isn't he? And he's shown he's still game there, and he's still got the entertainment factor, which is what you need, I suppose, in his position. Fiziev, another clinical striking masterclass. This guy's in 155. Don't think he's ranked yet, but he'll be looking up, won't he? And I think that there'll be people above him in that top 15 who are now thinking, oh, Christ.
Those leg kicks.
Oh, he's just savage, man. And just the way he's able to chain the strikes together. He's real dangerous. And for the weight class as well, he's real stocky. Not got, size-wise, he's not as tall and rangy as some of them might be, but it doesn't seem to affect him. His ability to move and just how thick he is at that weight, he's able to put vicious power behind things. If he gets another fight or two under his belt, he'll be way into that top 10, I think, next year. I'm looking forward to that little journey for him. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on from the card of the weekend was the Sam Hughes. She was a late replacement. She came in to fight Tisha Torres, and she shit out big time. She's never fighting the UFC ever again.
Nah, she's done.
Was it an eye poke? She said she got poked in the eye.
Allegedly. I didn't see one.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. It was poor. You feel for the girl. Maybe she was in over her head there, and it was a very late notice fight. I don't think she'd had many professional fights under her belt.
4 or 5.
But if you get that chance for UFC career, Dana White's in the room, and you basically quit. She quit. She told if you tell a doctor you can't see out your eye, he stops the fight.
Yeah.
She told the doctor.
And Dana did say last week there was going to be about 80 cuts.
Yeah,
I mean, not to remind
doing yourself any favours.
Not to remind anyone, but it is pretty.
And you know what? If it is what it is, if it was too much for her, she's overwhelmed. You've got your way out there and you take it. But if you're hoping for any kind of UFC career, you're told the Dana White's ripping up that contract at the side of the octagon because you can't do that. Yeah. They're especially when they're making cuts. Exactly. They're ruthless, and he wants to see people who are in there to compete. Exactly. She wasn't that hurt. She didn't get poked in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your plan B? You're gonna have a second chance in maybe a couple of years via the Contender Series. Good luck with all them. Good luck with all them savages.
You're gonna have to come through
those hungry savages.
She got a chance there and win all. She was probably gonna lose. Tisha Torres is a contender in that division. But all you need to do in that situation for Dana to repay the favour is perform.
Make it.
Be tough. Stay in there. Dana would have known she wasn't going to win, but it's like, can you stick it with the UFC class? Yeah. No, you can't. I'm sorry. Yeah. She can't. No. Not yet, anyway. So she might have another chance. This weekend, another good card. So it's the last card of the year, and we've had loads of shifts and changes on this one as well, like last week. But the main event's a cracker, I think. Stephen Thompson, Geoff Neal. I was doing a bit of research on Wonderboy because he's a fighter that I really like, but he's also one that I don't know. I feel like he's underrated in a certain way, but then he's also got there's a great deal of respect around him and his striking game. Until his win in his last fight against Luque, he was coming off like a 4-fight skid, which I'd completely kind of overlooked. But he obviously lost the fights to Woodley, beat by Darren Till. The drew one against Woodley, yeah. Lost one against Darren Till. And there was another one as well that he lost. Oh, my mind's gone blank now. Who did he lose to again?
It was in between Till and
Pettis. He got that the Showtime punch off Pettis off the cage, and which was a surprise because it was Pettis' first fight at 170, wasn't it? Yeah. And he sparked him out. Yeah. And at that point everyone's thinking, ooh, he's in trouble there, Wonderboy. But then he backed it up. He fought Luque, which was a while ago now, to be fair. He's been out for, I think it was almost a year, But what I really liked about the Luque fight, I remember watching it, was the aggression that he showed. He's got a reputation as being a real nice fella, and he is. And he's a martial artist. He's not a fighter, if you know what I mean, in the sense of the word. Then the Luque fight, you could see him gritting his teeth, and he knew at that point, I think, that he's again fighting for his spot in his career. And he looked amazing. And Luque was a contender at the time as well. But then he's gone quiet. We haven't seen him a lot. It's been COVID. There hasn't been the fight for him. There was talk about Hamza, and I mean, somehow he's managed to wrangle himself out of that match, because I thought that was going to happen. I thought that was probably the fight to make for Chimaev, and he somehow got away with it. But now he's been thrown in there with Geoff Neal, who doesn't have the names on his record, but he does have that reputation now. How do you see this fight playing out?
I think it's going to be a Wonderboy win.
Right.
And I think it's going to be a 5-round decision.
Right.
Of
smart fight, you think?
Smart fighting, using all his, rangy, using all his martial art,
I hope it is, because he's brilliant to watch.
Yeah.
He's brilliant to watch. His kicks, his range. Yeah. He still has one of the better strikers in the UFC. Full stop. I think the thing with Geoff Neal, he's got to stay out of the way of that power, hasn't he? And he's on. He's on a roll. He's confident. He knows that he's got a chance here to break into that top 5-ish. Yeah. When you start fighting Wonderboy, you're in the top 5, you're in the top 10.
I think the interesting thing is Wonderboy and Geoff Neal are fighting on the last card of the year, and this is both the first fight of the year.
Yeah, I know, and that
because Neal fought last December.
Yep.
And Thompson Luque was last November.
No, you're right. Yeah.
So they're both kind of from a year away. And I know you mentioned about the Chimaev, and I think from what I was hearing, I think Wonderboy did want that fight. And what Wonderboy was saying is that he seems that, and this might light a fire, that he was quite he felt disrespected by the UFC, as if Wonderboy isn't good, as in Wonderboy is not the.
What do you think? How do you think Leon Edwards feels?
Yeah, that's what. But as in, like, it's got to be someone in the top 3 because Wonderboy, you're not good. He's going to breathe through you.
Right,
so we need to give
right.
it. That's why he feels disrespected to say, "Oh, so we'll just bypass you and Magnet.
Right,
you're not good enough for this hype train."
But I also thought that Wonderboy was reluctant to take it because he was kind of saying he's not earned his spot in this division yet. Which again is true, but he's also just ran over people below it. So at some point, someone's gonna have to fight him. I think it's a big test now. So,
but yeah, I think Wonderboy a class. I think it's going to be a class display from Wonderboy.
Perfect. I hope so. Yeah, I have to agree. I think if Wonderboy, if it's the Wonderboy that fought last year, which it's hard to say, it was a year ago.
Yeah.
If it's the Wonderboy that fights with aggression last year, I think Wonderboy gets that decision. Yeah. I'm not sure that he'll be able to finish Geoff Neal, but I think he will be able to stay on the outside, use his kicks, damage him, hurt him, slow him down, and take away his power maybe with those leg kicks. I think a decision for Wonderboy is a good result as well, and it's a platform to build on next year. Because it has been a quiet year for him. Elsewhere on the card, Jose Aldo is fighting Marlon Vera, which is a really good fight actually. Well deserved from Marlon Vera. After he was a bit of an underdog, wasn't he, in the last fight against O'Malley, and he got the win. Bit of a weird win, but he got the win. Can't take that away from him. And now that the two South Americans get to go at it, Jose Aldo's looking good at that lower weight, better than I thought he was going to look. Yeah. And it'll really tell us where Chito Vera is if he's a contender in that division, I think, won't it?
Yeah, 100%. And interestingly with Marlon Vera is he stopped the hype train in Sean O'Malley last time out.
Yep.
Now you've got the myth, the legend, the Brazilian king of Jose Aldo. Yeah. But not to say he's in cut territory because he's still a young guy. People think Aldo's 40 odd and he's only like 32. He's done, he had the belt for 10 years.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
What he's done in his career, he's 34, I think.
Yep.
So, 10 years as champion and all that. I'm not saying he's going to get cut, but he has lost his last 3.
Yep.
He lost to Volkan, and don't get me wrong, it's good company. We're talking Volkanovski, Marlon Moraes, and Petr Yan.
And Moraes, I thought he won.
Yeah, I was going to say, and in my opinion, Aldo won the Moraes fight, but still on paper, it's a 3-fight slide. And I think this is Aldo's. I think we're going to see this is Aldo's time to announce himself into this division rightly, I think.
And if he loses, because if you lose, you're nowhere near the title. And again, it's one of those questions again of like, what do you do? Like, what are you in this division? Are you now the gatekeeper? Mm-hmm. Is it the slow decline? I think the real question is, and the real way you can not get cut, you've got to be still entertaining. People are still going to want to watch you. So I think the most important thing for Aldo to do in this fight is go out there and fight.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
Yeah.
Be competitive.
Yeah. In the last couple of fights, I have been. The last couple of fights, surprisingly, they always talk about his leg kicks, and he's not throwing.
Don't pull the trigger, has he?
On those kicks. So I feel as though that he's a bit tentative, and he should let him go volume. Because if it's a close fight, like we saw with Till and Whittaker, volume. Yeah. You'll get the fight on volume if it's close. Yeah. So throw him.
Well, both these guys are good on the ground, right? Chito Vera's good on the ground. Well, we obviously know Aldo's incredible on the ground. I wonder how much of it is on the feet, or whether they'll both test each other. Like maybe Vera will think, I've got your number on the ground now, being his age and things like that. Yeah, so it's another fascinating
maybe
fight.
Vera takes a couple of those kicks and goes,
screw this,
I better get him on the floor.
It's a really competitive fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's perfect
Makes
for
sense.
both the career trajectories, I think, at this time.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, if Sean O'Malley would have beat Marlon Vera, would they have done Sugar and Aldo?
Quite possibly.
Like
well, Sugar was on a rocket ship, wasn't he? Yeah, and Aldo would have been perfect for him. You probably would have been seeing that, and I wouldn't be surprised even if you do see it in the future as well. I think that's Sean O'Malley can sell a fight. Aldo being the legend, that's a huge fight. Do that in Brazil. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Really awesome. So it depends what happens here though. Because I wouldn't be surprised even if Chito won this, O'Malley gets a rematch there. Yeah. I just think they rate O'Malley and he's able to sell those fights. There's a narrative.
Would O'Malley fight Aldo if he loses?
Maybe, yeah. So it's another good stepping stone, isn't it? If Aldo loses, giving him to the young Sean O'Malley, I think he'll fancy himself as well. But it's a good test. It's a real good test. That's the thing. We know Aldo's a good test for anyone. Yeah. But does he want to be, again, it's the Tony Ferguson thing. He doesn't want to be a gatekeeper. But unfortunately, the reality catches up with. There's so much talent coming through. Yeah, you don't drop down a division to be a gatekeeper. No, there's no way you're maintaining that weight and doing those weight cuts to be a gatekeeper. No way. Just quickly on this card now, we've also got Michelle Pereira and Chaos Williams, which is just going to be friggin' nuts. We know what Pereira's like, very, very unconventional, unpredictable what he's going to do. And Chaos Williams has had an incredible year, awesome knockouts. So that one I think will be absolute fireworks. Yeah. We've also got Greg Hardy's fighting again. Another guy who's backed it up. It must be his fourth. This must be his fourth, right?
Yeah, I think
must
so.
Be his fourth.
Third or fourth. Yeah. Fourth.
Another one, not on the same level as Mackenzie Dern, but you're just seeing incremental improvements, fight on fight. I think he's doing all the right things. I don't think he'll ever be a title contender. I don't think he is, but he's a good enough athlete to compete in this division.
And I don't think he'll ever get the recognition because he's an outsider. He's an NFL outsider, just like Brock Lesnar.
He's not a lifelong martial.
He's a wrestler. He's not one of us. Yeah. He'll never get the recognition, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately, he won't. But and maybe he doesn't even care. Maybe he turns up, he trains, he fights, he does what he likes, he gets paid. Yeah. Climbs about the division. He'll eventually get to a sticking point where his talent's maxed out. And that's as far as he goes, I think. But he's entertaining to watch. He turns up to fight every time, and he's getting better. So you can't argue with that, can you? Excuse me. And then the first fight on the main card is Anthony Pettis, another one who is in dangerous territory, I think. Not so much for I don't think so much for his age, but more just for what are you in this for? Like where are you at with him? Yeah. I've not watched it yet, but I believe he came out today and he's done an interview with El Helwani where he's talked a little bit about his struggles over the last year with drugs and alcohol and things like that. And I'm assuming it's around, finding his purpose and finding his place again, reassessing why he's doing this. Don't know a lot about his opponent, Moreno. Yeah, Moreno.
I know he starched Rhys McKee most recently.
Well, that doesn't tell you. Oh, okay, I do remember that
Northern Irish guy.
Yeah, I remember the fight.
He kind of dished him.
But that's not.
Yeah. The interesting thing with Pettis, what I've noticed in his career, he's always seemed to have won one, lost one, one, lost one, won one, lost one. Yeah. And he won his last fight, so does that mean he's going to lose this one? I hope not.
No, I hope not. And he is another one who's he's a lifelong martial artist. Yeah. He's been a champion. Yeah. Highlight reel knockouts. He's got everything you want in this division. His brother, it was worth noting, is fighting over at Bellator.
Yeah.
You wonder if he gets a loss here, he might go join his brother over there, because I just think he'd be so far away from anything in this division that it sounds bad, doesn't it? Because every person we mention here, we're like,
cut him,
get him cut. But it must be on everybody's mind at the minute. Yeah. They've openly said, and because of COVID, they haven't cut many people this year, and now there's going to be a cull, and a lot of people have got the chance here to either fight for their career or they're going to lose it, or at least in the UFC. So that's this weekend. There's also the Submission Underground event. I haven't even got time to get into all of that, but that's going to be absolutely incredible. There's some huge names on that. Cowboy, RDA.
Yeah, we discussed it a few episodes.
Bader, Rumble Johnson, Craig Jones is fighting on it. I think it's going to be on Monday morning here. It's like a Sunday event in America. But if anyone is interested in grappling, tune into Chael Sonnen's Submission Underground 19, I think it is.
Yeah.
No idea where it'll be on.
Adam Lane will tune in, I reckon.
Yeah, he will. I think he might be in the UK.
Maybe.
Shout out to Adam Lane. In the UK.
In the air? I don't know.
In the air. Don't know where he is.
What's happening with COVID? Who knows?
I think he's going.
Yeah.
To finish. Because it's potentially the last one of the year, but it's definitely the last one of fights of the year.
Yeah.
I've got a few questions for you. We've got to sum up the year, and I want some of your opinions on this one.
Okay.
There we go. Grand win, Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your male fighter of the year?
Kevin Holland.
Oh, yes. Why?
5 wins, 7 months. Figueredo would have got it if he would have got the win. But the draw, I know he's not lost the belt, but that kind of tarnishes. So Kevin Holland's just nudged in front.
Yep.
It's a horse race, just won it by a nose.
I'm glad you said that, because that is the exact same person I was going to say, and the exact same reason.
Yeah.
7 months, 5 fights, 5 wins. It would have been Figueredo. I'd probably, if he'd got that win. But I just think not only what Kevin Holland has done, but the way he's gone about it. Yeah. He's done everything right. Mm-hmm. He's done everything right.
Yeah.
And I think what he's done as well is his next year, 2021.
Yeah. He's made a name
massive,
for himself.
Yeah. It's going to be massive from now on. And when hopefully we start getting fans back in arenas, they're all going to be shouting for Kevin Holland. They're all going to want to watch Kevin Holland, because you know he's going to turn up, he's going to scrap, and he's going to rock the mic.
What the UFC probably will do is fighter of the year will be Figueredo, because he's a belt holder. Yeah. And Kevin Holland will be breakout star of the year.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
For me, fighter of the year. Female fighter of the year.
I've got 2 in mind.
I've got 1 standout.
Okay. So my first instinct is Shevchenko.
Mm-hmm.
However, I like where Jessica Andrade has put herself this year.
Okay. And they're going to be matched up, right?
Yeah,
2 of those.
Next.
Yeah.
Because she's dropped down.
I can never remember which way she's gone.
Yeah, I think she dropped down.
I thought she'd gone up.
Oh, she's gone up. Maybe she's gone up. I don't know. She's done something. She's done something.
She's making changes in 2020.
Anyway, but like Raw, I'd backed up her performances.
Yep.
Now she's put herself in line with Valentina.
It'd be a great fight, that as well.
Which is great. So again, I lean toward Valentina. She's the champ.
Right.
So she has the belt. So I'll lean towards Shevchenko.
Cool.
You?
Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
Is my female fighter of the year. Again, it's not so much. She doesn't have a belt, which I completely see your arguments for that. But I think it's what you've done in the time that you've done it, and the incremental improvements you've seen fight on fight. Mm-hmm. In a short period of time, she's going away in between each one, and she comes back 2 months later considerably better, a level better at least. And I think she's got all the ingredients to be a champ. I don't want to say that yet, because I don't know if she's good enough, but she's got all the ingredients, so we know what she's like on the ground. And she's also another one that sells fights well. Mm-hmm. She turns up and performs. She rocks the mic as well, despite having the dodgy Brazilian accent. She gets the game. Her family and herself have been in and around the game for long enough. Yeah. For me, she's my female fighter of the year. Interesting thing, we're talking about champions. Interesting, which Dana White didn't even realise. I don't know if you saw the press conference, but no champion has lost the belt this year. That is, yeah. He did bring it up in the press conference, didn't he? Or any change of belt has been interims, and not one single champion had lost the belt in 2020. Wow, interesting fact. Yeah. There we go. Anyway. Fight of the year.
Zhang and Joanna.
Has to be, doesn't it?
Has to be.
Has to be. I mean, the one at the weekend probably ran it close, but yeah, for me there was no question. Yeah. That was unbelievable.
But I used the horse race analogy earlier with Holland and Figueredo. Joanna would have won by the hematoma if it was so close to the horse race.
She didn't look well after that fight, did she? Oh, Jesus.
No.
But when Joanna was also, she'd come back from a bit of a fall from grace, I suppose, to get the opportunity to fight the champ. And the reason it was such a brilliant fight is because I think she did a lot better than everyone thought she was going to do. Yeah. She showed how tough she was. She showed how much she wanted it, and we already know how the class of Weili Zhang is. That was an incredible fight, and there's been a lot of good fights this year. Yeah. But that for me was
and the fact that it was a co-main, and I think what helps that fight even more is one, it was the best fight of the year, the best co-main fight of the year, and it just helped that fight even more and rose its stock. Yeah. Because what followed was probably the worst main event of the year in Romero and Israel in regards to a defence. Yeah. So that probably helps.
It definitely did. Yeah, it definitely did. To finish, what's the number one fight you want to see next year? What's the fight you want made? And I guess it's got to be realistic. What's the one that for 2021, that's the fight you want to see?
Would you let me have Khabib GSP?
Yeah, I think it's
realistic.
It's in the only fight that
the only fight with big money that can bring him out of retirement.
I think it's the only one that brings him out of retirement
for 30.
Yeah, unless there's a massive shot. I don't think for a second that Khabib wants to fight Conor. He's fought Poirier. He doesn't want to fight either of those. No. So if either of those are if they're number one contender, I don't think you see him back in 55 because he's been there, done that. Not interested. Yeah, that's when you get GSP.
Yeah. On which I would lean towards. Khabib wants to be 30-0, and I think he's going to be 29-1.
Ooh. Yeah, if he wants his 30-0, you just fight Conor or Poirier again and just win again, don't you?
Or Sam Hughes.
Yeah, or you fight Sam Hughes, yeah. Oh, my eye. Smash.
Smashing brother.
Awesome. Yeah.
Your fight?
It's really hard. There's so many to choose from.
You want Eddie Jones, don't you?
I want Jones. I want to see Jones fight heavyweight though. I think I want to see him fight Stipe.
Jones Miocic.
Whoever's got that belt, but I think I'd love to see him fight Stipe. I think that'd be incredible.
I think John Jones walks all over Ngannou. By the way, I don't think Ngannou lands a glove on John Jones.
I don't think he goes anywhere near him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Miocic is more closer than Ngannou,
and that's why that's because that's probably one of the fights we're going to get potentially. Yeah. Well, I mean, Stipe Ngannou is the next fight, isn't it? I think Dana's kind of said that he does deserve that shot, which is fair enough. Yeah. John Jones potentially gets the winner of that, but I think John Jones is going to have to go through someone first. Yeah. I don't know who that is. Yeah. I don't know. The UFC would probably would prefer to see him fight Izzy. Yeah. I want to see him fight heavyweight.
I think John Jones versus Izzy is a tougher matchup than John Jones versus Ngannou.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In terms of this fight. Yeah, and they'd have to be more equally matched in size.
Yeah, of course.
I completely agree. But it's not that I don't want to see the Izzy fight. So I definitely do. But I want to see John Jones fight heavyweight, and I think the matchup with Stipe is really interesting. Yeah. I'll give you another one though. That just for a fun fight that I want to see. I want to see Justin Gaethje fight Dan Hooker. That's the fight I think would just, and I want to see it here. I want to see it here in Australia. I want to go to that fight. I think it's bite down on your gum shield. It's
just out of another.
Go on.
Masvidal Kobe.
Oh, Masvidal Kobe. Yeah.
After a season of The Ultimate Fighter as coaches.
We still don't know who the coaches are, do we? Masvidal Kobe's epic. I forgot about that.
As Ultimate Fighter coaches.
Oh my god, yeah. There's real needle there. That would be epic. Yeah. Okay. I'm changing my answer. And on that indecisive note, we'll end this week. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been 20 episodes. We've smashed out this year. We might get another one in before the year's out, but who knows? If not, have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yep. You'll make our Christmas by hitting that subscribe button, giving us a like, tell your mates about it. But all the best. Yep. Cheers. Cheers,
Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks, Matt. Enjoy the holidays.